What? I got a notification telling me that uh, Hangouts on Air on Google Air is going away later this year. So I won't be able to freaking stream like this for that much longer, which just sucks because I like doing it using you know, this Google on live, whatever it's called, on air, not on live. What I'm talking about. Jesus, that was loud. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Could I actually share that? Oh no, I shouldn't do that because it'll make it lag. Never mind. Go live. Thank you, Jesus. I hope my mic is not fucking up or anything. But it says I'm live, so that means I'm live. Uh, Joshua should try following the advice given by McCracken before dropping him first. HL, welcome to the stream, man. We still got like 2 hours until Tom Schwartz and Tyson Fury fight. So, well, not even 2 hours, actually more. Actually, like 4 or 5 hours because the main event is gonna happen at like 11 in my 11 p.m. my time zone, which is around 8 o'clock Las Vegas time zone. Uh, the undercard hasn't started. The undercard's gonna start in like 2 hours, so we still got like 6 hours to go. The mic is fine. Thanks for letting me know that. Appreciate it. So since we have like 6 hours to go, I decided why not make a little video because I didn't make a video today talking about boxing before we get into Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz in a few hours. Uh, I just hope that fight's better than than it looks on paper. It might be. I hope Tom Schwartz comes to win. I want to see ambition in Tom Schwartz. I want to see him actually try and win the fight. And not like go there just to be there, but actually try and win the fight. So hopefully we get a motivated Tom Schwartz. And hopefully we get a motivated Tyson Fury. Maybe Tyson Fury doesn't come into this fight motivated because he doesn't really rate Tom Schwartz. But that's all I really hope for this fight. Is a good fight. And maybe we get an upset. That'll be nice to see. It'll be nice for Tom Schwartz because Germany has not had a champion, a heavyweight champion, since Vladimir Klitschko. Well, he would win the lineal championship. I don't know if people count that as a championship belt, but he'll win the lineal status. He could say I'm the lineal, and that definitely would people will be talking about him just like they're talking about Andy Ruiz. But I wanted to talk about Anthony Joshua because everyone keeps saying that Anthony Joshua might get rid of trainer Rob McCracken. And of course, they're saying this because of the fact that he lost. And I've seen a few people say that he should get rid of Rob McCracken. I've seen a few fighters say that he should get rid of Rob McCracken. I feel that What? Tyson Fury should be WBC champion. Welcome, Nigel Banks. Yeah, a lot of people feel that Tyson Fury got robbed against Deontay Wilder. I thought he won. If you guys go look at my post fight, I thought he won. I saw that fight, and I immediately made a post fight video, and I was like, Tyson Fury won that fight. They robbed him. I really only gave what's his name, Deontay Wilder, the rounds where he dropped Tyson Fury. That was really the only rounds I gave him. The rest of the rounds, I thought. Again, this is just my opinion, because a lot of times I've heard a lot of people opinions, and they were like, "Well, a lot of the rounds were close. They were close rounds, so I could see why they had it a draw." But I didn't look at it like that. I thought that Tyson Fury clearly was winning the rounds that people thought or were saying they were close rounds. I felt that Deontay Wilder was depending way too much on his right hand, as he normally does, and he was giving away rounds. And that was like my criticism of Deontay Wilder, was the fact that he tends to do that because he's a big puncher, and big punchers tend to do that. They depend so much on their punching power that they give away rounds, and he was waiting too much. And I felt that he should have brought the fight to Tyson Fury. I think the way to beat Tyson Fury, because it's difficult to beat Tyson Fury when it comes to the skill department, because he's very talented. You have to bring the fight to him. I think you got to make it into a war. And I feel that that's what. Although I'm hearing, I've heard Tyson Fury come out and say, there isn't the rematch isn't signed or anything like that. So we might not get a rematch. But if they actually go through with the rematch, my advice to Wilder would be to bring the fight to Tyson Fury, make it into a street fight. Because if he does that, if he goes in there with the same game plan where he's like, just trying to land his right hand, is going to be controversial again. It's going to be controversial again. We're going to have people saying, especially if it's a draw or something, or Wilder wins but via split decision, people are going to be like, oh, Wilder actually lost that fight. So I hope that Wilder brings the fight to Tyson Fury. Yo, Tony, let me see if I could pronounce your last name correct. Delgado. Delgado. I bet I butchered it, but is that how you say your last name, Tony? Tony Delgado. Wrecked. I still support you, brother. Fury will win tonight. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. I've calmed down. I know I was all over the place these few couple of days, but I told you guys I'm serious when I posted something saying on my community post saying that I'm gonna be serious again, and I'm sticking to that. Nigel Banks says the Express reported that McCracken News, this paper is shoddy rag paper in the UK, not truly credible. Thanks for letting me know that. Yeah, because I've seen a few boxing channels talking about that, saying that or reporting that, saying that Anthony Joshua is thinking of sacking Rob McCracken. And I made a video just telling you guys my opinion about that. Because again, like you said, maybe it's not even true, But my opinion about that is, I feel that Rob McCracken, if he's gonna stay with Anthony Joshua, I think he needs to show him how to clinch, how to hold on, like how to have survival skills. Like, one thing I noticed with Joshua is when he gets hurt or if he gasses out, because when he gasses out, he doesn't know how to clinch. Like, he doesn't clinch. He just stays there, and he tries to fight off the opponent, and then that gets him into even more trouble. So I think he needs to learn how to clinch. And there are some trainers out there like that could teach him that. A lot of people keep telling me that he should be with a technical trainer. A like somebody told me, I think somebody like a Jonathan Banks. People keep telling me that Jonathan Banks, because he was a part of the Klitschko camp for several years. Of course, now he trains Gennady Golovkin. Uh, Also, Virgil Hunter. That's another guy that everyone keeps saying Joshua should be with. Virgil Hunter, because Virgil Hunter has always been known as like a guy that teaches his fighters to hit and not get hit. I mean, Andre Ward was always known as a defensive type of fighter. Amir Khan, even though his chin is horrible, he was always known as a boxer. I thought Fury edged it, but he does like to use confident body language, hands behind back, to sway the judges and crowd in his favor. Thought it was closer. Yeah, I know. He did the same thing against Vladimir Klitschko, where he puts his hand behind like at the back. He acts like this is so easy for him that he could literally, like, he'll put one hand behind his back and be like, look, I'm beating this guy just using one hand. This is easy work. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes, and you got my name right. Finally, I got a name right. Delgado. Nathan Banks says would be exciting to see Freddie Roach as AJ's coach. Though the thing about Freddie Roach, because I had another guy tell me that before. The thing about Freddie Roach is, I think Freddie Roach is a guy that he likes training his fighters to be like very aggressive. Manny Pacquiao, very aggressive. Amir Khan, when he was with Freddie Roach, very aggressive, on the front foot. He likes to train his fighters to fight like a very aggressive type of style. And I don't know if that's a good matchup. I know that like him and I know AJ and Freddie Roach are cool because I've seen AJ talk highly about Freddie Roach. I've seen Freddie Roach talk highly about AJ. So it seems that if he were to choose a new trainer, he would probably, it would be a perfect match, him and Freddie Roach, just because it seems like they get along. But I just think that I don't think that would be a good thing for him against somebody like Ruiz in a rematch, because that's what got him in trouble the first time. He was going after Ruiz. He was being very aggressive, and he was exchanging with Ruiz up close, and he's way bigger than Ruiz. He should have really kept his distance, but he didn't do that. And I think if he were to fight, I think if he were to be trained with Freddie Roach, I think Freddie Roach would have him be aggressive, because his style is very aggressive. Abel Sanchez. Abel Sanchez. What? Every time I think of Abel Sanchez, I always think of Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin. I think he needs to be with a trainer that teaches him how to clinch. Teaches him, even though people don't like that. Like, I remember when Vladimir Klitschko was fighting, that was his biggest criticism. That Vladimir Klitschko was always clinching dudes. But Vladimir Klitschko always had a suspect chin. But what Emmanuel Stewart did for him was he taught him how to clinch. He taught him that when a short guy gets in close, you hold on to him, you lean on him, you put all your weight on him so he can't get his punches off, right? Because I think Emmanuel Stewart knew that Vladimir Klitschko didn't have the best chin. So he's like, okay, instead of exchanging with him, instead of fighting him off you lean on him, you gas him out like that, and then he won't be able to let his punches go against you. But it worked out, because if you notice, Vladimir Klitschko would always lean on a guy if he got in close, at least, especially the shorter guys. And he taught him like how to keep a guy away from you and just dominate a fighter and opponent with his jab. I think that's something that AJ needs to learn. Freddie Roach can't teach defense. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Freddie Roach has never been a trainer that has been known to teach good defense. He's been really a guy that has always done good with aggressive fighters. Like, if you want to learn how to let your punches go in a fight and actually be aggressive like that and come forward, Freddie Roach is your guy. But I don't think he's a good fit for AJ. I don't know. I don't think so. Interesting insight on Freddie Roach. Struggle to lean on Ruiz. He is heavy. He's a heavy beast. Struggle to lean. Yeah, he outweighs AJ by like 20 pounds. Yeah. Jeff Mayweather, but he's partnered up with Charles Martin. Man, what happened to Jeff Mayweather? I remember like when Floyd Mayweather Jr. was active. I remember like that's how I first found out about Jeff Mayweather. It was like during the Mayweather era. Remember how like Mayweather was trained by his father, Floyd Mayweather Jr. I mean Floyd Mayweather Sr. And then they had some type of disagreement, and then he hired his uncle Jeff Mayweather. Oh no, Roger Mayweather. I got confused. Not Jeff Mayweather, Roger Mayweather. That guy is who I'm talking. Is who I'm thinking about. Roger Mayweather. I remember the longest time. Roger Mayweather was like the main trainer of Floyd Mayweather Jr. Uh, and then he would like switch between Roger, his uncle, and his father, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Senior. Uh, but I think what AJ needs to do, first of all, I think he needs to hire someone who is going to give him better stamina. I think that's extremely important for his career. Because I didn't like how he gassed out. Like in that round where he did get dropped, you saw him huffing and puffing, like he was gassed out. And the same thing happened when he fought Vladimir Klitschko. You guys remember when he got dropped against Vladimir Klitschko? I think it was in the sixth, seventh round. I don't know. I think it was around that. But when he got dropped against Klitschko, when he got up, he was so tired. And I don't know why, but it's like when he gets hurt, it's almost like that zaps the energy from him. I don't know, because he got dropped against Klitschko and he looked exhausted. He was like walking backwards because he was so tired. And Klitschko kind of let him off the hook. He wasn't applying the pressure as he should have. A lot of people felt that had he done that when he hurt Joshua, maybe he would have beaten him, but he kind of left him off the hook. But I remember Joshua being very tired there. The thing with Ruiz was he did not leave Joshua off the hook. When he hurt him, he kept bringing the pressure, right? And then you saw what happened. So, but he was gassing out. He needs to fix his stamina. Jonathan Banks might be a good fit. Oscar, welcome to the stream, man. Dillian, let me see if I can pronounce your last name. McCollum. Is that how you pronounce your last name? McCollum. Ben Davis. Ben Davis. Isn't Ben Davis the trainer of Tyson Fury? Or is it Ben Davis? I totally forgot Ben Davis. Is he not the trainer of Tyson Fury? And also, I think the trainer of Billy Joe Sanders. AJ reached out to Klitschko. I wonder what happened. Yeah, I heard that. I heard like a few channels, and I saw like I read a little piece where they were saying, AJ reached out to Klitschko, or they were saying like AJ's gonna hire Vladimir Klitschko. Um, Vladimir Klitschko I think the good thing about Vladimir Klitschko is his experience, and Vladimir Klitschko is the master at clinching, right? He's the master at clinching. He's the master at preventing shorter guys from getting their punches off. Like he would always lean on his opponent. You guys remember when he fought what's his name, Alexander Povetkin? The biggest complaint about that fight for Klitschko was that he kept holding on to Povetkin, and Povetkin being the shorter guy, he would get in the inside, but he couldn't even let his punches go because he was always leaning on him. But like, what's his name? Emmanuel Stewart taught Klitschko how to do that. Like, don't let a guy get his punches off on the inside, especially a shorter guy, because since you're bigger than him, you could outman him, right? On the inside, because you're bigger than him by leaning on him. So I think Vladimir Klitschko could help him learn how to do that. I think he needs to improve on his survival skills. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, he needs to fire his strength conditioning coach. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the main thing he needs to change. Is the trainers that, because sometimes I see footage of AJ training, and he's with like a guy, and they're like he's training him with like abs, or like they're throwing like I don't know, a ball into the walls and shit. I have a feeling that's his strength and conditioning coach. He's always had this stamina issue, so I think he needs to. What's his name? I think he needs to get that guy. I mean, no, he needs to get rid of that guy, and I think he needs to get a better strength and conditioning coach to help him out. Help him out with the stamina issues. He will already have someone in mind. Yes, call him and see. Evening, brother. Respect from England. Welcome, Blaster. Welcome to the stream, man. 11 views. What happened? Well, I just started streaming, so maybe that's what happened. Brown gone one. I think a good fit for somebody like AJ is first get rid of the strength and conditioning coach. And I think he needs to be more with a technical type of trainer. I would say Jonathan Banks, because he was with the Klitschko's, he spent many years with the Klitschko's. But I will also say Virgil Hunter. Although Virgil Hunter, his fighters have been getting, I mean, Amir Khan quit against Terrence Crawford, but Virgil Hunter, and let's not even talk about what happened to Dominic Brazil. I obviously Virgil Hunter trained Dominic Brazil for Deontay Wilder, but Virgil Hunter is also a good trainer. You know who also is an underrated trainer? Terrence Crawford's trainer. Okay, Terrence Crawford's trainer. Terrence Crawford is a amazing talent at welterweight, and I think his trainer doesn't get the credit he deserves because his trainer is not really that known. And I always forget his name. I think it's Brian something, Brian Moback, something like that. But I think he followed me on Twitter one day, Terrence Crawford's trainer. But that guy, I don't think he gets like you don't really hear people talking highly about Terrence Crawford's trainer, but he trained Terrence Crawford since he was a child. Like there's pictures of him with Crawford when Crawford's like freaking 8 years old. So he basically taught Terrence Crawford how to fight. And we all know how talented Terrence Crawford is. So I think he's a underrated trainer. Although I believe he was a pro boxer when he was fighting, but he wasn't the best boxer. But when it comes to training guys, I think he did a hell of a job with Terrence Crawford. Maybe somebody like him. Maybe he could teach Anthony Joshua something. I don't know. Who knows? Ben Davis is TF's coach. Who's TF? Tyson Fury. Oh, Tyson Fury. Yeah, I don't think that would work. I mean, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua don't get along, do they? I mean, I know he was like giving him compliments after he lost to Ruiz, but you know how Tyson Fury switches up on dudes. So I don't think that would be a good fit. I mean, I don't know. He's trained by Tyson Fury. Again, just because he's trained by Tyson Fury doesn't mean he can't train, obviously, what's his name? Anthony Joshua. But I would think that would cause some tension. How the fuck did you get all this from one fight? You know damn well something was going on. Please give it a break. Stop throwing him under the bus. The damn bus. He's not the only one who's ever lost. Yeah, I know. I already moved on from that. You guys have to watch my recent videos. AJ needs to lose a stone, maybe more. AJ weighs, I believe he weighed 247 when he fought Ruiz. How much did he weigh when he was? Because I've seen pictures of AJ when he was fighting in the Olympics, and he looks hella skinny there. He looks hella skinny in the Olympics compared to how he looks now. Like he's obviously put on a lot of muscle, a lot of muscle since the Olympics. Like, but those pictures where he's like winning gold in the 2012 Olympics over there in the UK, like he looked way slimmer. So ever since he's turned pro, he's put on a lot of muscle, and a lot of people are saying that that's one of the main reasons why he's stiff. But I think that's one of the main reasons why his stamina is poor, right? And that's something that I agree with. AJ needs. If Lennox Lewis wasn't a jealous man, he would be a good trainer. Didn't Lennox Lewis trained David Price? I remember wasn't he like training or giving David Price advice before David Price got knocked out against Tony Thompson? I remember like his David Price promoter, that guy who became a woman, David Price's promoter. I remember like that dude was criticizing Lennox Lewis after David Price lost to what's his name? Tony Thompson, because he was like, it's your fault. The only reason David Price lost was because you were training him, Lennox Lewis. I remember that. I don't know. That was a few years ago, but I still remember like watching something or reading something about that. All right. Like say Joshua needs to go down to max 240. Yeah, Lennox Lewis says that that's a good weight for a heavyweight who's over 6'5", being 240. AJ has over 20 people he pays to travel with him. He does. I don't know. I never like keep tracking like the people that boxers or the boxers entourage. AJ AJ isn't being thrown under the bus. These are legitimate critiques. He was in the 230s in the Olympics. Yeah, he looked hella skinny. He looked hella skinny when he was fighting in the Olympics. You need to be ashamed of yourselves. I'm glad he don't give a fuck about what you all be saying. He's very intelligent and smart. FT, who's next? All right. Do you think he might lose some power at lower weight? Oh, like if AJ loses weight? Uh no, I think instead he would gain speed. Instead, that will help him out with his stamina issues. I don't think he'll lose power. I mean, look at Deontay Wilder. Sometimes Deontay Wilder fights at 229, and he's knocking dudes out. Sometimes he comes in at 209. So Deontay Wilder loses like 20, 15 pounds in between fights, and he's still knocking guys out. So, right, he's knocking dudes out at 229. He's knocking dudes out at 215. He knocked down Tyson Fury, and he weighed in at like 209. So I don't think that affects your power because it didn't affect Deontay Wilder's power. Maybe it affects your man strength. Like if a guy gets in close and let's say he outweighs you and he's like on the inside against you, maybe that it affects you there because his extra weight is he's gonna be more stronger than you because he's heavier than you. But I don't think that affects power. Who knows? I might be right. I might be wrong. AJ was 236 against Parker. Damn. So he put on 11 pounds of muscle since the Parker fight. He fought Parker in like last year, March or something, right? 2018. So AJ needs to learn how to clinch and survive and how to fight off the back foot. He's too used to just coming forward and bullying opponents with his power. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a lot of people are saying like he needs to have a technical trainer. Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury came out and said that Anthony Joshua needs to go away from boxing for an entire year and learn how to box, right? Learn how to box. And a lot of people are saying that that's the main reason, including myself, by the way, that's the main reason he even got caught. He got caught against Ruiz because he allowed Ruiz to get close to him. And when you're 6'6" and you got an 81-inch reach and your opponent's 6'1", and he has a 74-inch reach, he shouldn't be allowed to get in close to you, right? You should be having him away from you. You should have a jab to keep him away from you. You need to make it difficult for him to get near you. And if he does get near you, you got to hold him. So I think that's something that he does need it. I think in the rematch he has to be a boxer. I think it'll be dangerous if he just goes in there. He does have the power to knock out Andy Ruiz because he dropped Andy Ruiz. But it's a risky thing, right? Because let's say he drops him again and then he goes in there again thinking he's going to finish him off. But that's when he's at his most vulnerable, when he's attacking the dude because he's left open. Like when he got rocked by, what's his name? Dillian White. He was going after Dillian White. And Dillian White caught him right in the middle of an exchange. And he buckled Anthony Joshua, right? So maybe I think what he has to do is just play a safety type of fight. People keep telling me like when I don't know, Lennox Lewis fought what's his name? David Tua. Although David Tool didn't have the hand speed of Andy Ruiz. That's what I'll tell you. I think Floyd Mayweather Sr., he can teach him more boxing skills. Yeah. Floyd Mayweather Sr. is also a good a trainer. I believe he trains God, what's that kid's? I always forget that kid's name. Devin Haney. Devin Haney. Yeah, that guy. Devin Haney. Exactly. That guy. I think because he's from London, you don't like him, and he's gonna come to America and get all his damn money they got over here. I don't have nothing against what's his name, Anthony Joshua. Relax, bro. I don't have anything against Anthony Joshua. Hey, keep up the good work. Great, incisive content. Sorry, I have to go. All right, man. Thanks. I appreciate the fact that you came and chatted with me, man. Bye. Peace out, Nigel Banks. He need to work the jab and his distance. Yeah. Head movement also. Keep up the videos, bro. Yeah, definitely will. You must have not seen none of his fights. Don't say he can't fight, just he needs to improve some areas. I've actually seen every single Anthony Joshua fight. I've seen all his fights as a professional. Now, I have not seen all his fights as an amateur or in the Olympics. I saw a few of his fights in the Olympics, at least the ones that they put on YouTube, but I've seen all his professional fights. And yeah, that's one of the things he has to improve is his stamina issues. Another thing he has to improve is his ability to clinch. You know what I'm saying? And take his time, not rush in and try and get rid of guys thinking that they're out on their feet, or else stuff like this will happen to you, might happen to you again, and get knocked out again. So I'm thinking Jonathan Banks, Virgil Hunter. Although Davis saying that Ben Davison guy is not a bad trainer either. He's not really a bad trainer either because he did a great job with Fury. Although Fury was always talented, it wasn't like Ben Davis made Fury a talent. Fury, when he was with his uncle, who was it? Peter Fury. He was always a talent. He had that skill set. What Ben Davis did was he got him in shape. I remember like Ben Davis because he was fat when he went to Ben Davis. He got him in shape. And the same thing with Billy Joe Sanders. I believe Ben Davis trains him, but Billy Joe Sanders was always a boxer. Like he was already talented. It wasn't like Ben Davis taught him how to be a boxer. He was already a boxer. He also didn't teach Fury how to be a boxer. So I don't know. I think he should be with somebody like Jonathan Banks or what's that guy? I already forgot his name. Clinching do make fights boring though from a fan's. Yeah, it does. But you know how they say, as long boxers always say this, as long as you get the win, that's all that matters. Even if the crowd's booing, even if the fight is lacks of entertainment, and it's all because you decided to clinch, as long as you get the W, that's all that really matters, right? And Joshua, he needs to get this W against Andy Ruiz, because what happens if he loses against Andy Ruiz? What happens then? He's not going to get a title shot. I don't think he's going to get a title shot from Deontay Wilder. Andy Ruiz is going to go on to probably defend his belts against his mandatories, or maybe he goes on to fight Deontay Wilder for a unification fight. And what would happen to Anthony Joshua? He would have to go back and basically, I don't know, rebuild himself again. You know what I'm thinking though? Because everybody keeps telling me that that the WBO is going to strip Andy Ruiz, right? And this is basically, if that actually happens, this is basically history repeating itself, like literally history repeating itself. Because back in 2015, Vladimir Klitschko was supposed to beat Tyson Fury. I remember that like yesterday. Tyson Fury was the underdog, and Vladimir Klitschko was supposed to just beat him, right? Had he beaten him, he would have defended his belt against his mandatory, who was that Glasgow guy, the guy who fought Charles Martin. But of course, before Tyson Fury signed to fight Vladimir Klitschko, on the contract he signed that he would have an immediate rematch with Klitschko if he beat Vladimir Klitschko. Of course, he upsets Klitschko. He becomes the unified heavyweight champion of the world, and he is forced to immediately face Vladimir Klitschko in a rematch. But at that time, that Glasgow guy, I always forget his name, was the mandatory for, I believe, the IBF. Heavyweight championship of the world. And since Tyson Fury was obligated to to have a rematch with Vladimir Klitschko, he couldn't obviously fulfill that mandatory defense, and they stripped him of the IBF, and they had Charles Martin versus Glasgow. And Charles, you remember how like he suffered an injury, and Charles Martin kind of like he won the IBF strap basically from default. And this is basically, it seems like it's just history repeating itself. Anthony Joshua was supposed to beat Andy Ruiz. Had he beaten him, he would have then, I would imagine, defend his belts against Kurat Pulev because he is a mandatory for, I believe, his WBO strap. But of course, we know what happened. Andy Ruiz beats Joshua, but he signed in the fight. If he beats him, he has to immediately fight him in a rematch. So because of this, since he's forced to fight Anthony Joshua, and now it seems that the WBO is going to strip him of his title. Which means it's crazy because that means that if he does decide to fight Joshua, well, not decide he has to fight Joshua, WBO will most likely strip him, and we'll have 3 champions at heavyweight. We'll have 3 champions. I would think that the WBO would have the vacant title, would have Kurat Pulev fight somebody, maybe the guy second in the top ranked WBO rankings, right? And they'll have those 2 guys face off. And then the winner of that would be the WBO champ. What I wish they would do, the WBO, if they did strip Tyson, Andy Ruiz from that title, is I wish they gave the winner of Dillian White versus Oscar Varys, however you pronounce his name, the opportunity to fight for the vacant title. Like, have that guy fight Kurat Pulev or something for the vacant title. I'm glad though they didn't like strip Ruiz and have Tyson Fury fight Tom Schwartz, because that would have been such a foregone conclusion, you know. So, but that's what I hope happens. 8 people in here, Rec. The LDBC crowd doesn't seem to have shown up. You have not been watching my past few videos. Have you big plans that'll drive? Actually, I quit doing what I was doing. I'm sticking to being objective and non-biased. So, yeah. Watch my latest uploads. So I believe we're going to have 3 champions at heavyweight if the WBO elects to. Although the WBA and the WBC presidents are trying to have Andy Ruiz fight Deontay Wilder for a unification fight. So who knows what's going to happen? Everyone's talking about the rematch, Joshua versus Andy Ruiz, but maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe maybe they actually force, Andy Ruiz to fight Deontay Wilder, which is not a bad fight either. But I don't know, because I really don't know what happens. I guess we'll all have to just wait and see. Big Lands, give him a break. Super Sprinter, welcome to the stream, man. I've seen you in my comment sections. I think we're going to have 3 heavyweight champions at heavyweight once again. If they give Fury a belt with some bum fight, it's sickening. Yeah, that was the only thing. Like, when I heard Tyson Fury come out and say stuff like, by the way, Chris Dodges, welcome to the stream. That was one of like the things when I heard Tyson Fury come out and say that they're going to strip Andy Ruiz of his WBO belt and he's going to be fighting it. He's going to be fighting for the vacant belt against, Tom Schwartz. I thought that was, I thought that was like a weak move. So I'm glad they didn't do that, because That's not a competitive fight. Like if you're gonna fight for a vacant belt, I want it to be like against two guys that, first of all, are worthy and they're in competitive fights. You get what I'm saying? So we're gonna have to see what happens. But boy, wouldn't it be amazing if Tom Schwartz? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've seen one fight of Tom Schwartz. Okay, one single fight, and that was when he fought that guy Senator Gashi. That's it. So I don't really know too much about him. All I know is that he's a young dude, and he's a big dude, and he's from Germany. But and also he has a poor resume. That's all I know about him. But who knows? Maybe Tom Schwartz goes in here against Tyson Fury, and he actually comes to fight with ambition, which I hope he does. I hope is that because sometimes you see fights happen, and a guy is fighting a guy that he's supposed to lose against, and he fights that way. He fights like he's not supposed to win. He fights with no ambition. So I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that Tom Schwartz actually fights with purpose. Fights because Tom Schwartz has a massive opportunity here. He has a massive opportunity in front of him. If he manages to beat Tyson Fury, he will officially be the lineal heavyweight champion. And now people are going to be talking about him. People are going to be talking about Tom Schwartz. People are going to be making videos about Tom Schwartz. Who knows? We might be saying Tom Schwartz versus Tyson Fury in a rematch. Can you imagine that? Tom Schwartz versus Tyson Fury in a rematch. This time in the UK. Oh my God. Imagine Tom Schwartz versus Deontay Wilder. WBC champion versus lineal champion. You know what they should do? If Tom Schwartz pulls the biggest upset and beats Tyson Fury, they should have Andy Ruiz versus Tom Schwartz, the unified heavyweight champion versus the lineal heavyweight champion. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought that the two dark horses in the heavyweight division was Tom Schwartz and Andy Ruiz? Out of all these dudes, I'm not being horrible. I apologize in his post when I figured out his age. I'm just genuinely interested as to why it happened. Rec, do you think the rematch in Ruiz versus Joshua is going to be in the U.S. still? I heard Hearn wants it. Yeah, Eddie Hearn, Oscar, Eddie Hearn definitely wants it in the UK. I mean, he's looking at several venues in the UK already. Like, I've heard outdoor stadiums. Again, I can't really tell you anything about UK stadiums because I'm not from there. I don't know any of the arenas over there, but everything that I'm hearing of Eddie Hearn when they're talking about this rematch is always that he wants it in the UK. And of course he wants it there. Obviously, it's going to give Anthony Joshua the advantage. And I will not blame what's his name, Andy Ruiz, if he went over there, because I would imagine he'll probably make more money, right? And if he's being smart in terms of business savvy, why would you have the rematch happen in New York when you could get paid more money? Because I would imagine Eddie Hearn would probably offer him more money to go to the UK, right? So I wouldn't blame Andy Ruiz for going to the UK if they're going to offer him more money, right? So that's how it is. Wherever it happens, uh, I think Anthony Joshua just has to come better prepared, wherever it happens. That's why I keep saying he needs to get a better strength and conditioning coach. Also, maybe a better trainer. Maybe. Maybe. But like George Groves was saying, George Groves was like, he's gonna be showing uh this. Maybe he feels like the backlash, the public backlash he will receive because he will look like he's disloyal to Rob McCracken. You got to give Rex some respect. He showed a better chin than AJ with some of the comments he had past week or so. Wilder has smashed more bums than Elton John. I don't know if I could pronounce your name. Leif. I probably butchered that. I'm just gonna call you AI. AI. Artificial intelligence. Yeah, Wilder definitely fought bums for his first 30 fights. That's what I'll say. 30 fights. I don't count Wilder's first 30 fights. I count Wilder. The first time I gave Deontay Wilder credit as a fighter was when he fought. God, what's that guy's name? My God, I already forgot. I think it was Malik Scott, and it's just because Malik Scott, uh, at the time was actually talked about highly, but that was the first time I ranked Wilder as a fighter when he knocked out Malik Scott. Although that knockout was very suspicious, uh, but I think Wilder has a decent resume as of recent. Okay, as of recent, I think Luis Ortiz and Tyson Fury are really good names to have in your resume. Okay, that's what I'll say. They're definitely better than you know Bermain, Stavern. Who else he fought? Washington, Arthur Spilka. By the way, I'm not hearing nothing about when's this. Because like 2 weeks ago, Deontay Wilder announced that he was going to have a rematch with both Tyson Fury and Luis Ortiz, but I have not heard any like announcement as to when the fight's actually going to take place. Like when? September? What month? What date? When is the actual date? So it's not even confirmed. It's not confirmed yet. Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, or at least they haven't confirmed it. Just Wilder, who came out and said he was gonna rematch them, but they have not officially confirmed that they're actually gonna be fighting. Who knows? Maybe Deontay Wilder's waiting, because he does have an opportunity to face Andy Ruiz for unification. So maybe he's just waiting before he confirms that he's gonna fight Luis Ortiz. Maybe he's waiting to see what is the move. What is Andy Ruiz move? Or maybe you never know. Maybe they're trying to negotiate. Sometimes, you know how sometimes these things just come out of nowhere. These fights, like when Tyson Fury announced that he was fighting Deontay, wow, that came out of nowhere. I had no idea that was going to happen. Maybe he's in negotiations to fight Andy Ruiz. Who knows? Tyson got a win today first. Tyson Fury definitely got a win today. Because if he doesn't, we're gonna have a rematch. We're gonna have a rematch with Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz. Tyson, that'll be crazy, man. That'll be crazy, bro. If Tyson Fury loses to Tom Schwartz. Ooh, Bermain Stavern had the WBC belt. He had to take the fight. Yeah, he was the mandatory for Bermain Stavern, I believe, wasn't he not? Yeah, he was the mandatory. But Bermain Stavern, that was a fight that was kind of tailor made for Deontay Wilder. I definitely think that his victory over Luis Ortiz, like I think it's more impressive that he fought Luis Ortiz and Tyson Fury over Bermain Stavern. I've never was impressed by Bermain Stavern. I never I, like I first saw Bermain Stavern like 8 years ago. I think when he fought Austin, what's his name? Ray Austin, yes. And he didn't look that good against Ray Austin. I was like, I wasn't impressed with him. So I've never really been high when it came to Stavern. I'm way more high on Tyson Fury and Luis Ortiz than Stavern. Is there a belt on the line today? Tyson, I believe he's the lineal heavyweight champion, right? That's what he always says. I'm the lineal heavyweight champion. So if Tom Schwartz wins, he will be the new lineal heavyweight champion. If Tyson Fury wins, he just defended his lineal status. His lineal status. But one thing I do think that Tyson Fury did not take the Deontay Wilder fight right away on purpose. I do think he wanted to take some time off to recover because that last round was very brutal, and maybe he felt let me take a little tune-up fight first. Because if you notice, the guy he chose was a weak guy, right? It wasn't like he chose a quality heavyweight that me and you know of that we could be like, all right, this is a good fight. He took on a weak guy, or on a guy that I shouldn't even say that because maybe when it comes to these heavyweights, maybe he's not weak. Maybe I just think he's weak. Maybe I'm just like I just think he's weak, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's who knows, man. Who knows? But I think that's why he chose Tom Schwartz as an opponent. Because he didn't want to take no risk. Yeah, I can agree with that. He was a come forward fighter, Bermain. Reason I asked if Ruiz fights AJ again, Ruiz will lose a belt. No, Bermain Stavern was not necessarily a come forward fighter. Bermain Stavern was always a counterpuncher. That's what he was. Even against Joe Joyce, if he was against the ropes, what he loved to do is Bermain Stavern is he loves to counterpunch. He loves to stay in the ropes, lean against the ropes, and have his opponent come to him. He likes his opponents coming to him, and then he'll counterpunch them. When he knocked down Chris Arreola on both of those fights, he was in the corner, and Chris Arreola kept coming at him, and he was catching him. Even when he was rocking Joe Joyce's head back, he was in the corner, and that's why he looked terrible against Deontay Wilder, because he's not a pressure fighter, and he was forced to try and cut the ring off. But he's never been a good pressure fighter, and I saw that when he fought Ray Austin. Ray Austin was boxing him. He was trying to outbox him, and he looked terrible against Ray Austin. So it was kind of easy for Deontay Wilder because Deontay Wilder is not. I mean, because Deontay Wilder had the height, the reach, the foot speed, the athleticism. It was kind of easy for him. And because what's his name, Bermain Stavern, is not good at cutting off the ring. That's what happened. But yeah. Wait. Reason I asked if Ruiz fights Edge again, Ruiz will lose a belt. If he lose, yeah, if he fights AJ again, he might not have all the belts because the WBO is thinking of stripping him. And obviously, if they strip him, that means the winner of AJ versus Anthony, no, the winner of AJ versus Ruiz too, would be the WBA, IBF, IBO champion, but not the WBO champion. The WBO champion would be whoever fights for the vacant belt, for that vacant belt. I think Fury is taking this Schwartz fight to see how adjusted he is to his new body from losing all that weight and him practicing on sitting down on his punches more. You know what's crazy, Oscar, is I believe Tyson Fury weighed in at 263 pounds last night for his fight against Tom Schwartz. Now, the crazy part about that is he weighed in at 256 when he fought Deontay Wilder. So he's actually 7 pounds heavier, but he looks slimmer. He looked slimmer. Like when he fought Deontay Wilder, he looked like you could see his physique. He looked a lot more like he had a lot more pudginess in his midsection. He just looked a lot more flabby down there. But against Schwartz, he just looks a lot more slimmer. He looks in better shape against Schwartz than he did against Deontay Wilder. Yet he weighs more. He weighs more. So I don't know how that works. But he's 7 pounds heavier, but he looks in better physical condition. Big Plans Little Drive says, do you think Anthony Joshua could be like Joe Louis with regards to his legacy, coming back and defending his belts for an extended period? Funny you said that, Big Plans Little Drive. You know, last night I was doing a lot of research on Joe Louis again. Sometimes I do that. I go and sit and just rewatch like classic clips of, like, you know, fighters from 80 years ago, and I was looking at a lot of Joe Louis film, and some of his, like, I was reading like some articles about Joe Louis's life, and I was thinking about that. I was thinking about what you just said. I was thinking, you know, Joe Louis was unbeaten. He turned pro in 1934, and he loses to what's his name, Max Smellin. Then he becomes a champion, right? I believe he fought the guy. I already forgot his name, but the guy's nickname was like the Cinderella Man, and I believe 1937. And then he rematches the guy who beats him, Max Smellin. And after he beats him, he goes on like a 10-year reign, right? He does not lose a fight for 10 years. Well, he defends his belts from 1937 to 1948. He has this long reign. where he's just knocking everybody out he faces, and then he retires. And of course, you know what happens. He comes back. I believe he was having some money issues. He comes back in like the year 1950. He eventually retires after getting knocked out against Rocky Marciano. But yeah, I do think you said. Of course, he could come back. You know, Vladimir Klitschko. The same thing happened to him. The same thing happened to Vladimir Klitschko. That kind of happened to Joe Louis. Vladimir Klitschko early on in his career was lost uh to, I believe, God, what's that guy's name? I always forget that guy's name. That British dude that knocked him out. I always forget his name. But when he lost for the first time, I believe it was against a UK fighter. Then, of course, he lost to guys like Corey Sanders and Lamont Brewster. But that didn't prevent him from going on to become a long reigning champion, right? He went on to beat Lamont Brewster in a rematch, and he went on to not lose a fight until he lost to Tyson Fury in 2015. So he went on like a 9-year unbeaten streak. No, 11-year unbeaten streak. Because when he lost to Fury in 2015, and he had not lost since Lamont Brewster in 2004. So that was 11 years. So yeah, I do think that he can do that because there has been champions like Klitschko, like Joe Louis, who came back from defeats uh, and had long reigns. But I think what he has to do, and because he's young, he's still in his 20s. But I think the most important thing he has to do is learn how to clinch uh, and get better stamina. I think that's crucial. I think he seriously needs to learn how to get better stamina. Another guy, even Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis, you could even use as an example. So, I do think he could come back. But does that mean he's going to do that? No, we're gonna have to just wait and see, right? Who knows? We never know, right? We never know unless we wait and see, because we don't know. Maybe he goes in there and fights Andy Ruiz. Maybe he loses again. Maybe Andy Ruiz just has his numbers. Or, maybe he just has his number. Maybe he just can't beat somebody like Andy Ruiz, or maybe not. Maybe he just goes in there, beats him. But I wonder what happens. Let's say he beats Andy Ruiz. Are they gonna make a trilogy? Would Do you think Eddie Hearn would make a trilogy? Because if he beats Andy Ruiz, then they would both have one up on each other, right? And let's say they have a rematch in, I don't know, Wembley, and let's say it sells out, like 90,000 fans show up to that freaking stadium, and let's say it does amazing pay-per-view buys, right? And then let's say Joshua beats him, and he becomes, you know, unified heavyweight champion again. Do you think that would motivate Eddie Hearn to be like, okay, let's make a trilogy now, because look at how well we did. Look at the numbers, how well it was, how well we did uh at Wembley, how well the pay-per-view numbers did. You know what? Why don't we make a trilogy? Maybe that could happen. You know how they say, you remember they were gonna make an immediate rematch with Klitschko, and the reason they were gonna do that was because that first fight was so successful, right? It was not only entertaining, but 90,000 people showed up. It was a really big. It did great viewings, and that's why they were like immediately, all right, let's make a rematch. Let's make the rematch. So maybe that could happen, because people keep telling me that the rematch is actually going to be even bigger than the first fight, and I could see why, because now since AJ lost, there's a story. AJ, he has the opportunity to win his belts again. Okay, this is the guy who beat AJ. So I could see why it could be bigger. So that's why I'm curious. Maybe that happens. You never know. Maybe he wins, and they're like, all right, let's have AJ versus Ruiz for the third time. No chance, too risky. Corey Sanders. We're live streaming. Fightcast, welcome to the stream. Still got the Love Wings Tyson. Yes, Eddie would sell sand to the Arabs. Why is Eddie Hearn a boogeyman to so many? He seems better than most promoters. I think Eddie Hearn's one of the best promoters in boxing. I think him and Dana White, although I believe Dana White is like a president, I don't think he's a promoter. But what I like about Dana White from like the UFC is that Dana White fucking has his fighters fight the best. Like there's no bullshit. And that's one thing I like about the UFC is you don't see dudes cherry picking in the UFC. He puts them in there against the best of the best right away. There's no, prolonging fights for 5 years and shit like that. That's one of the reasons that's what attracted me to the UFC long time ago was just how easy, no, how these guys don't really cherry pick. They don't have a choice because they can't cherry pick like that. This dude Dana White just has them in there fighting the best in their division. I wish boxing was like that. I wish like there was like one guy who just ruled everyone, every boxer, and he could just be like, "All right, you're gonna fight this guy, and that's it. You're gonna fight him." End of story. But boxing doesn't work like that. You get to choose and pick who you want to fight, unless like I don't know, unless like you're a champion and then somebody becomes a mandatory of your belt, and then you're forced to fight him, and if you don't fight him, they strip you. But I wish like that's how boxing worked, where there was just one ruler, one fucking main guy who could just be like, all right, I want you to fight this guy because everybody wants this fight and it's going to happen. That's it. James Jackson, welcome to the stream, says he should hire Jonathan Banks. He comes from the Kronk Gym training tree. Yeah. Shout out to the Kronk Gym. The founder of the Kronk Gym, the late Emmanuel Stewart. So many champions came out of the Kronk Gym. My God. Tommy Hearns. I never got to grow up watching Tommy Hearns. Obviously, by the time I got into boxing, Tommy Hearns was long retired. But boy, I saw a bunch of his clips, and Tommy Hearns was a killer. Tommy Hearns was like a freaking beast. This guy's power was ridiculous. Like he was knocking dudes out cold. I wish we had a Tommy Hearns in the welterweight division in this particular era. I don't think we have. We don't have like a monstrous puncher like a Tommy Hearns in this era of the welterweights. What do you guys think of Danny Garcia versus Mikey Garcia, by the way? Are you guys into that fight? Like, are you guys like into that fight? Danny Garcia versus Mikey Garcia. Puerto Rico. That's how they're gonna build it up. They're gonna build it up. Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Like they always do. It's always a rivalry. Puerto Rico versus Mexico. I don't understand why Mikey Garcia is staying at 147. Like he's way too small to be fighting at 147. That he's gonna have an issue for the entire time he's at 147. He's gonna always have an issue with these dudes because they're naturally bigger than him and they're stronger than him and they could take his punches. I don't think they respect him. I don't think these welterweights respect him. Errol Spence Jr. had no respect for Mikey Garcia's punching power at all. And to be honest with you, I think if Errol Spence Jr. would have actually fought the way he normally does, which is applying pressure, I think he would have stopped Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia showed a lot of heart, but like when Errol Spence Jr. was going after him, he was like giving him a beating. Like there was a round where he was just beating up Mikey Garcia. Like he was beating him up. And like it looked like his brother Robert was gonna throw in the towel. I don't think the welterweights respect Mikey Garcia's punching power. Again, he's very talented, Mikey Garcia. Don't get it twisted. He's very talented, but he's not. But you know how they say there's a weight division in boxing for a reason. I don't think these bigger guys respect his power, and I don't think Danny Garcia will respect his power. I think Danny Garcia will probably knock him down or knock him out. Who knows? AJ on the back foot, hands up, left, right, no toe to toe. Yeah, he has to be on the back foot. No, he has to like be cautious of exchanging with Ruiz. He can't allow Ruiz to get close to him. If you see Andy Ruiz up close to AJ in the rematch, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. He should hire Jonathan Banks. I know I read that already. No, Mikey should go down at class. I think he should be fighting at 135, at 140. Maybe he just can't make the weight no more. Maybe that's the problem. And yeah, you're right. He did look flabby. Like he didn't look like if you look at Mikey Garcia when he was fighting at 126, 130, like you could see his abs. Like you could literally see his abs, but at 147, he does look fat. He looks flabby. He's not his physique at least, and that's just because he's not naturally a 147 fighter. But maybe he just can't make the weight anymore. Emmanuel Stewart Kronk Gym, yeah, the founder. A lot of people, one of the best trainers and that ever lived. Emmanuel Stewart had many champions. Emmanuel Stewart trained Evander Holyfield to regain the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world against Riddick Bowe after Riddick Bowe lost. No, after Evander Holyfield lost for the first time against Riddick Bowe. Uh, Evander Holyfield decided to hire Emmanuel Stewart to help him in the rematch, and he became a champion again. So there's been a lot of things that Emmanuel Stewart did. And I remember watching on HBO because I used to always watch when I was first getting into boxing. The HBO, I used to always watch boxing on HBO. And I used to always enjoy listening to the commentary of Emmanuel Stewart. I remember like he was like a pundit in the HBO commentary. I still remember, man. It is currently, let's see, we got 1 hour. Wait. Is it 1 hour or 2 hours? Yes, we got 1 hour until because it says it's gonna start in an hour. The Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz, but it's not actually gonna start. I mean, there's a bunch of fights on the undercard. It's not actually gonna start, obviously, at 7 o'clock, or at least my time zone, 7 o'clock. It's gonna start like 2 3 hours later because there's a bunch of fights on the undercard. I'm actually looking forward to Sullivan Barrera versus Jesse Hart because Jesse Hart kind of comes from my neck of the woods. So I'm definitely supporting him in that fight. I hope he beats Sullivan Barrera. And if he beats Sullivan Barrera, that'll be the biggest win in his entire resume. He lost to Gilberto Ramirez twice. He's only lost to one guy, which is Roberto Ramirez. So let's see if he could beat Sullivan Barrera. I had no idea Jesse Hart was so big. Sullivan Barrera was always considered a big light heavyweight, but Jesse Hart is actually bigger. He's much taller. That surprised me. I'm like, damn, how big is Jesse Hart? Because Sullivan Barrera is listed at like 6'2", but he looked like 2 inches shorter than Jesse Hart. So Jesse Hart is a big light heavyweight. For some strange reason. Oh, by the way, did what's his name? Did Josh Warrington already fight Kid Gallahan? I think that's how you say his name. For some strange reason, I thought that Josh Warrington was gonna fight Kid Gallahan on the undercard of Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz. I don't know why, but for some strange reason, I thought that. For some strange reason, I thought Frank Warren promoted uh, Josh Warrington, and I like Josh Warrington because I saw his fight against Carl Frampton, and I thought that fight was excellent. It was very exciting. Uh, but then when I was like, I realized no, it actually he's fighting in, I believe, Leeds over there in the UK, and I probably missed it, or it's probably happening right now. I have a feeling that Josh Warrington is fighting Kid Gallahan right now as I'm speaking. I wonder. Let me see. We have 1 hour, bro. That's it. All right, guys. I'm gonna end the stream. I'm going to go back when Tom Schwartz fights Tyson Fury. That's when I'll get live again. Because I don't want to be waiting here for like in 2 hours until that fight happens. So anyone who stopped by, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. But I'm going to come back during the Tom Schwartz versus Tyson Fury broadcast. So yeah, that's probably gonna happen in 2 hours. It depends. Anyway, I'll see you guys then. Peace.